It was supposed to be a simple drive home. Marcus, a young black engineer, had just finished a long shift and was minutes from his neighborhood when flashing red and blue lights filled his rear-view mirror. The officer approached, hand already on his gun. "Step out of the car," he barked. Marcus froze, hands raised high. "Sir, what did I do?" But the officer didn't care. His voice dripped with arrogance. "You people never learn." He yanked the door open, shoved Marcus against the hood, and aimed the gun inches from his head. Traffic stopped. Phones came out, but Marcus stayed calm. "You sure you want to do this?" he asked quietly. The officer sneered. "Yeah, and who's going to stop me?" Then came the voice from behind. "I will." Another cruiser pulled up. Out stepped a black man in a tailored FBI jacket. "Special Agent Darnell Winters," he said, flashing his badge. "That man you just assaulted? He's one of ours. Helped design our federal security systems." The officer's face drained of color. Moments later, he was the one in cuffs, handcuffed by his own partner as bystanders filmed. Marcus didn't gloat. He just looked him in the eye and said, "Justice doesn't always wear uniform, but it always shows up." 2 weeks later, the courthouse was packed. Reporters, activists, and police officers filled every seat. The disgraced officer sat at the defense table, head down, lips tight. Marcus entered quietly. Wearing a dark suit, no anger on his face, just calm resolve. When the judge called the case, the officer's lawyer stood up fast. "Your Honor, my client has served his community for 20 years. He deserves leniency." The judge leaned back. "Leniency?" He looked toward Marcus. "Mr. Carter, would you like to speak?" Marcus walked to the stand, every eye on him. "I don't want revenge," he said softly. "I want accountability. Because if a man with a badge can terrorize someone innocent and walk free, then none of us are safe." Silence. The officer finally looked up, his arrogance gone. The judge's gavel came down hard. "Officer Maddox, you're hereby stripped of your badge and sentenced to 18 months. Gasps filled the room. As the guards led him away, Marcus turned toward the cameras. "Power means nothing without integrity," he said. "And fear only wins when good men stay silent." Months passed, and the courtroom filled again, this time for the civil trial. Officer Maddox, now pale and bitter, sat beside his lawyer, smirking at Marcus across the room. He whispered to a reporter, "Let's see how long his luck lasts." But Marcus wasn't alone anymore. His company had grown since the incident. He'd partnered with the FBI's cybersecurity division to build police accountability systems. And today, that partnership mattered. When it was Marcus's turn to testify, he didn't raise his voice. He simply pressed play on a video, the body cam footage from that night. It showed everything. The threats, the gun, the fear in his eyes. But then came the part no one expected. The audio Maddox had tried to delete, his own voice sneering. "Nobody will ever believe you." The courtroom went silent. The smirk vanished. The judge leaned forward, voice firm. "You were right, Officer Maddox. We didn't believe him until now." He slammed the gavel. Judgment in favor of Mr. Carter. Full restitution. Public apology required. Cameras flashed as Maddox was escorted out, face pale. Career gone. Marcus stood tall, reporters shouting his name. He looked straight into the cameras and said, "They thought breaking me would end the story, but all they did was write my beginning." 5 years later, the same courthouse buzzed with cameras again. A new plaque gleamed beside the entrance. The Carter Justice Initiative, free legal aid for the underserved. Marcus Carter, now Judge Carter, stood before a cheering crowd. His voice was steady but full of emotion. "This building once represented fear to me," he said. "Now it represents hope for everyone who never got a fair shot." But then from the back of the crowd, a familiar face appeared. Officer Maddox, gray-haired, tired, carrying a manila folder. He waited until the crowd thinned, then approached slowly. "Judge Carter," he murmured, eyes lowered. "I came to apologize and to ask for a job. I've been trying to make things right." Marcus studied him for a long moment. The cameras turned their lenses toward them. "You don't owe me an apology," Marcus said quietly. "You owe yourself redemption." Start by helping those you once looked down on. He handed Maddox a volunteer badge for the same center he built. Tears filled Maddox's eyes as he took it, whispering, "Thank you." Marcus nodded once. Justice isn't about payback. It's about progress. 10 years later, the city gathered once again outside the courthouse. Only this time, not for scandal, but celebration. The governor was unveiling a statue in front of the Carter Justice Center, honoring Judge Marcus Carter's work in criminal reform. Reporters filled the steps. Students from Community Center waved homemade signs reading, "Justice lives here." As Marcus took the podium, his voice trembled slightly. "We've come a long way from fear and handcuffs," he said. "But the real victory is when the next generation never has to fight the same battles we did." Then the crowd parted, and out stepped a man in uniform. Officer Maddox, but different. Gray hair cropped short, a new badge on his chest, this time reading Community Safety Liaison. He walked up beside Marcus, saluted, and said quietly, "You gave me a second chance. I spent the last decade training officers on bias, restraint, and accountability. Because of you, I learned what justice really means." The crowd went silent. Marcus smiled softly, extended his hand. "No," he said, "because of us." Cameras flashed as two men, once enemies, stood side by side, a living image of redemption and reform. As the sun set behind the courthouse, the engraved words beneath the statue glimmered in gold. Justice isn't revenge, it's restoration. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that matter. And let's keep the conversation going.